Welcome to the CU Scoop. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka DukesTheScoop. Everybody calls me Dukes. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DukesTheScoop. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, make sure you go in the description and find out how to become a member. There are varying levels of membership. Just take a pick of how much you want to support. And today's episode is brought to you by One for All for One Clothing. Can you get that in there? One for all for one. They sent me this dope hoodie. They sent me the hat the other day that I wore. I appreciate the packaging. So make sure you go to that website, ofaafo.com, to check out some of their gear. I like it. This is a very quality hoodie for sure. And if you want your clothes to be in this same spot, make sure you send me an email or hit me on Instagram or Twitter in the DM. All right. Got all that out the way. This video is about your Colorado Buffaloes and the quarterback competition. All right, so I've seen it up close and personal. I've talked to people around the building, talked to the families. I've talked to talked to the players, and I think watch practice, and then I went to watch the scrimmage. And shout out to Reach the People, shout out to Well Off, shout out to the Pregame Network for bringing those behind the scenes looks into practice. So when you can't be there, everybody feels like they can be there. But right now, I think this battle is about as even as it can be. Reason being, as currently constructed in the offense, I think that both guys have shown what they can do and the way that their skill set fits in the offense. Now, you're only probably about 60 right now. You're probably at about 60 set. You're probably about 60, between 60 and 70% of basic install. There's more to come for sure in the offensive principles, but you're only probably about, if I'm guessing right, about 60 to 70%. So there's more to come. But right now, I think experience-wise, if it's ended today, they will probably go with Salter just based on experience. And if he wasn't doing well, then they would probably backfill with you. Julian Lewis, 5-star, and Kaden Salter. I want to make sure I say their names correctly. But the reasons for Kaden Salter, I think, why he has done well, it's been one, his control of the RPO, and he hasn't really gotten the chance to get loose. They haven't put in a ton of design runs or practice those, but they're going to start putting those in. And I think if there's any separation to be gained, that'll be where they gain it, as far as the design quarterback runs and more run option, speed option. I think that's where you're going to see Salter shine. He's shown that he can throw the deep ball. He's shown that even when you see what they put on Well Off and Reach the People in Pregame Network, you can see that he definitely has a penchant for throwing a deep ball. So I think that Salter has shown, and he's a vocal leader. I think his confidence shines through. I think he came to win the job, had no doubt in his mind about would he win the job. He thought that, of course, I'm 20 plus years old. I'm going to beat this 17-year-old out. When he came, he knew Julian was there when he came, and it has to be a confidence to have 1 year and go to a school where you have with a quarterback prodigy that you're told is going to be a competition. He must have had the utmost confidence. So I did hear that he's a very vocal guy, very confident. So if he were to start, those would be the reasons. Julian, on the other hand, it's about potential, and it's about pure arm talent. And a lot of people think arm talent is just throwing the ball down the field. That's arm strength. Arm talent is ball placement. Arm talent is being on schedule, being on time. Arm talent is getting rid of the ball. Arm talent is anticipation. And I think today, if you were just to say, okay, if you have a quarterback accuracy competition, who would win? I think you would give that to Julian Lewis. While he's a lot bigger than what people thought that he was going to be. So the average 17-year-old isn't built like Julian Lewis. The experience that he has is of already being a guy who started multiple times in the face of adversity and always came out on the other side of it. We talked about his past. Every time that he's had the opportunity to shine, he has. This isn't anything different. His confidence is a quiet confidence, right? His confidence is a, roll with the punches, learn the offense, get a grasp of the offense, trust your tools, show, improve. That's Julian Lewis. So if he were to start, it would be because he has that quiet confidence, his execution, and his ball placement. When you look at where Julian places the ball, his ball placement reminds me of Shedeur, to be honest. When we looked at the pro day with Shedeur, and it wasn't always about having a tighter spiral or throwing a slant 100 miles an hour, which wide receivers hate. As a guy, former receiver, running back when I did play ball, way back in the day, you would hate when guys would throw the ball unnecessarily hard, right? So I think with Julian Lewis, he throws a catchable ball. There was something I saw in the scrimmage that really stuck out to me. Julian Lewis throws a jump ball, and it was a little bit underthrown, but the wide receiver gets his hands on it, doesn't squeeze it, ends up incompletion. The next play that we see on Reester, and I don't know if that was the very next play, but if you watch the footage from the first scrimmage, then the next time you see him throw a ball, it's an interception. He didn't stop going deep. You see Coach Prime get on him like, hey, bro, that's a safety. You see Coach Prime go over there and coach him up. And he didn't stop throwing the ball deep. He went right back deep. That mentality, that confidence to know is like, it's almost like, you ever see Lethal Shooter on Instagram and he goes, I understand it now. Right? And then he goes right back at it. So the next time he goes deep is on the opposite sideline, and the wide receiver doesn't catch the ball in bounds, but the ball is right there. Great placement on the ball where only the wide receiver could get it. Julian is going to continue to develop. And that development, like each rep that he gets in these high pace and these fast and high leverage situations, these are only going to allow Julian to grow. Now, Julian is better in the option game than a lot of people give him credit for. So right now, we talked about Kaden. I think right now, today, if you had to go with the starter, you probably would go with Kaidon Salter. That doesn't mean by the end of spring or after fall camp, it could be Julian Lewis. Kaidon Salter, and here's one of the differences too. Let's think about this. Kaidon Salter committed to Colorado knowing that Julian Lewis was there. Julian Lewis did not commit to Colorado knowing that Kaidon Salter was going to be there. For him to have the mental capacity to sign to a room without a quarterback of that caliber and to go get a guy, and for Colorado, who's doing their job recruiting, and had an opportunity to get a guy like Kaidon Salter, Julian Lewis could have tucked his tail. Julian Lewis could have said, nope, I'm ready to go. This ain't it. Julian Lewis said, nah, it's a competition, and he's made it one. This could have easily been I'm developing this year. No need for me to try to go out here and win the job. So I do want to give credit to Julian Lewis for being a fighter. That being said, there's no substitution for experience. And right now, Kaidon Salter has just more snaps at this pace than Julian Lewis. But as Julian Lewis continues to grow, he's gonna know not to throw that interception that he threw in the scrimmage. And Kaidon Salter threw one too, but I did think Kaidon Salter, the first bomb that he threw was beautiful. Like, and I don't know, it looked like it may have been a coverage bust, and now Colin confirmed that this week. but Kaden Salter did throw a beautiful deep ball. I mean, Julian is going to figure that out, right? But I mean, I was getting ready to say this. I mean, if you're a Colorado Buffalo fan, is this not a beautiful position to be in? In years past, and no disrespect to Staub, man, because he's really been right there the whole time. But you just didn't know if you had what you needed if Shedeur or were to get hurt. But now you got two quarterbacks, that you feel confident in winning games with. Colorado is the true winner here. In a perfect world, you would want Kaden Salter to go out here, ride off into the sunset, go to the NFL, have a great year, go to the NFL. Julian Lewis to get some work and be the guy for the next 2 years, and then you have another guy recruited behind him. Because it ain't, you know, I'm of the school of thought that it ain't gonna take the same way it didn't take him 3 years to do high school. It only took him 3 years to do high school. I think it'll only take him 3 years to do college. Like, you can see the physical tools and how advanced he is for his age. But that's just a perfect world for everybody to be happy. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. And that doesn't mean that Julian Lewis can't win the job. This ain't, this is your job, Salter, and Lewis, you're just getting ready. This is a real quarterback competition where people around the building are actually asking who do you think is winning. Like, I hear whispers. And it's a valid question. If someone were to ask me right now, like I said, I would probably go Salter based on what I've seen. That's today. But man, every day Julian Lewis picks it up, dog. It's starting to get scary. And this is one thing that I do know. As the offense is currently constructed, I think that without the run concepts, if you ran the same offense that Shedeur ran last year, I think you would probably go Julian Lewis if it's just more of a passing offense. But I just believe they're going to add more run game concepts, and as far as what a quarterback would be involved, and that's what will give Salter the edge, I believe. I think intermediate, I think Julian is one of those. I think he's just a special arm talent when it comes to the intermediate throwing, which is so important as far as keeping the chains moving. But with the run game of Kaden Salter and him being able to have such a strong arm and have touch on the deep ball, I think in the college game, that's what really helps you. So I think, right, that's why I've been saying what I've said to this point. But we just don't know how it's going to shake out. But that's just what I see so far. And before we get out of here, did y'all see Coach Prime talking to the offensive line? So I think a linebacker hits one of the offensive line, and the offensive line don't really swing back. Coach Prime, he brings the offensive line over there. He brings one lineman, then he brings them all over. And then he says, "Hey man, y'all don't. Hey, y'all ain't losing nothing. Ain't nobody getting off on y'all. Not the offensive line. No. Y'all ain't taking no whoopings. Y'all give them. Man, if I was an offensive lineman, man, I'd be ready to run through a brick wall. Man, run through a metal. Well, it don't matter. I would not want to be that defensive line after a speech like that from the head coach talking to the offensive line. If that line, when you see that clip, that's one of those clips that needs to get clipped up and put on social media for other offensive linemen to hear. Because I know some nasty offensive linemen that will love to go play where the head coach is telling you stuff like that. And that's not to say that he don't care about linebackers, because of course he's a defensive guy first. But he understands football, and he knows you got to protect that quarterback. And he literally watched his son take a pounding over the last couple of years. And I think it was important for Coach Prime to say that for building a championship team. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so you guys have been hearing, and you guys have been reading, and you guys have been watching. You tell me, like the show, me, myself, Uncle Neely, you tell me, drop in the comments, who do you think is winning? This is an opinion piece. This ain't fact-based. This is just, my opinion. Nobody's told me what it is. Nobody's told me what it ain't. I'm just gathering opinions, and I want you guys' opinions. So As you after you watch this, I want you to get down in the comments and drop who you think the winner is so far and who do you think the winner will be and why. I see multiple schools of thought. I just think this is a very, very, very close battle, and there's no way to know how it's gonna shake out. All right, I just wanted to drop something quick for y'all. I'll be traveling this week again, so I'll have some more. We'll have more content. Anything that you want me to talk about, whether it's a position group, whether it's coaching staff, anything, whatever you want me to talk about, drop it in the comments. I'll find a way to get it on for you. All right. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. DukesTheScoop. Twitter and Instagram is DukesTheScoop. And please, I think where are we at? 9,200. Let's get to 10,000, y'all. Tell a friend and tell a friend, man. We need to get to 10,000 subscribers, and then we're gonna shoot for 20. Maybe we'll shoot for 15 first. But let's get to 10,000, y'all. All right, man. That's my time. I'm out. I appreciate y'all, and make sure y'all go check out One for All and All for One. All right, my guys.